They walk among us, often undetected, masters of manipulation and control. Malignant narcissists, with their toxic charm and insidious tactics, leave a trail of devastation in their wake. This is not just about vanity or an inflated ego. This is about a deep-seated personality disorder that thrives on power and control, leaving victims emotionally shattered and deeply scarred. We're about to take you on a journey, a deep dive into the world of malignant narcissism, exposing its dark underbelly and the profound impact it has on those unfortunate enough to be caught in its web. The world often misunderstands narcissism, confusing it with simple self-centeredness. But malignant narcissism is a different beast altogether. It's a destructive force that operates in the shadows, often disguised as charisma, confidence, or even victimhood. This is not about someone who needs to look in the mirror. This is about someone who needs to control the reflection staring back at them, and everyone else's for that matter. In the next few minutes, we'll peel back the layers of this complex disorder, revealing the mechanisms they use to trap their victims in a cycle of abuse and manipulation. We'll explore the devastating impact this has on their children, spouses, and even their own mothers, exposing the insidious ways they operate within these intimate relationships. Our goal is not to demonize, but to educate, to empower you with the knowledge to recognize the signs and protect yourself and your loved ones from the devastating effects of malignant narcissism. Imagine a predator, not with claws and teeth, but with charm and manipulation. That's the insidious nature of a malignant narcissist. They are masters of disguise, experts at presenting a captivating facade to the world, while harboring a dark and toxic inner world. Their charm is their weapon, their intelligence, a tool for control. They use it to disarm, to seduce, to lure their victims into a false sense of security before tightening their grip. But behind this carefully constructed mask lies a deep well of insecurity, a fragile ego that cannot tolerate the slightest criticism. Any perceived threat, any challenge to their carefully constructed facade is met with rage, manipulation, and a desperate need to regain control. They are emotional vampires, draining the energy and life force from those around them, leaving their victims feeling depleted and worthless. Their need for control is insatiable, their thirst for power unquenchable. They see the world as a chessboard, and the people in their lives mere pawns to be manipulated and controlled. They are masters of gaslighting, twisting reality to fit their narrative, making their victims doubt their own sanity. They are the puppeteers, and everyone else mere marionettes dancing to their tune. The tragedy of malignant narcissism is that it often goes unrecognized, dismissed as simple arrogance or difficult personalities. Victims, trapped in a web of manipulation and control, may not even realize the abuse they're enduring. They often blame themselves, internalizing the narcissist's attacks, their self-esteem eroding with each passing day. This silence, this lack of awareness only serves to protect the abuser, allowing them to continue their reign of terror unchecked. But breaking the silence is crucial for the well-being of the victims and for society as a whole. By understanding the dynamics of malignant narcissism, by recognizing the signs, we can begin to dismantle the systems that allow these abusers to thrive. We can empower victims to reclaim their lives, to break free from the chains of manipulation and abuse. This is not just about individual healing, it's about societal change. It's about creating a world where manipulation and exploitation are not tolerated, where empathy and compassion are the norm. It's about shining a light on the dark corners of human behavior, exposing the truth and empowering individuals to protect themselves and those they love. Join us as we embark on this journey of understanding, of awareness, and ultimately, of hope. The family unit, often idealized as a haven of love and support, becomes a battleground for control and manipulation in the hands of a malignant narcissist. Children, especially vulnerable and dependent, become prime targets for their narcissistic parents' need for power and control. These parents view their children not as individuals with their own thoughts, feelings, and aspirations, but as extensions of themselves, mere instruments to fulfill their own narcissistic needs. The malignant narcissist parent sees their children as objects to be molded in their image, to reflect their perceived greatness back to the world. They demand unwavering loyalty and obedience, punishing any sign of individuality or dissent with swift and brutal force. These children grow up walking on eggshells, never knowing when the next outburst of rage or manipulation will erupt. Imagine a childhood devoid of genuine love and affection, replaced with conditional praise and a constant barrage of criticism. These children are praised not for who they are, but for how well they serve their narcissistic parents' ego. Their achievements are met not with pride, but with a need to one-up them, to remind the child who is truly in control. In the twisted game of a narcissist, children become pawns, strategically maneuvered to manipulate situations and maintain control. They are pitted against each other, rivals in a competition for their parents' love and approval, a love that is always conditional, always out of reach. This creates a toxic environment of competition and distrust, leaving lasting scars on the children's relationships with each other and their ability to form healthy bonds later in life. These children may be used as weapons against the other parent, manipulated into taking sides in conflicts, their loyalty tested and exploited. They are forced to become confidants, bearing the brunt of their narcissistic parents' rage and resentment towards the other parent, carrying a burden no child should ever have to bear. The emotional manipulation runs deep, leaving the children feeling responsible for their parents' happiness, their sense of self-worth. They are constantly made to feel inadequate, their needs and desires dismissed, their dreams and aspirations undermined. This constant invalidation creates a deep sense of insecurity and self-doubt that can haunt them well into adulthood. Growing up with a malignant narcissist parent is like living in a constant state of gaslighting. Reality is distorted, truth is twisted, and the child's perceptions are constantly challenged and undermined. They are told they are too sensitive, too demanding, too difficult, their feelings and experiences invalidated and dismissed. This systematic erosion of their sense of self creates a breeding ground for self-doubt and insecurity. These children often struggle to develop a strong sense of identity, their own thoughts and feelings constantly overshadowed by the overwhelming presence of their narcissistic parent. They may become people-pleasers, afraid to express their true selves for fear of criticism or rejection. The long-term consequences can be devastating, leading to anxiety, depression, and a host of other mental health issues. Imagine a life where you're constantly second-guessing yourself, where your own memories and perceptions are questioned and undermined. This is the reality for children of malignant narcissists. They grow up in a world where the rules are constantly changing, where love is conditional, and where their own needs are always secondary to the demands of their narcissistic parent. They learn to suppress their true selves, to become masters of disguise just to survive. Breaking free from the grip of a malignant narcissist parent is a long and arduous journey. It requires immense courage, self-awareness, and a deep understanding of the dynamics of narcissistic abuse, These children often carry the scars of their upbringing well into adulthood, struggling with trust, intimacy, and setting healthy boundaries. However, there is hope. With therapy, support, and a commitment to healing, these individuals can begin to reclaim their lives. They can learn to recognize and challenge the toxic patterns they've internalized, to set healthy boundaries, and to develop a strong sense of self-worth. The journey may be challenging, but the rewards are immeasurable. A life free from manipulation, control, and the suffocating grip of narcissistic abuse. It is essential to remember that these children are victims, not perpetrators. They deserve compassion, understanding, and the opportunity to heal and thrive. By shedding light on the devastating impact of malignant narcissism on children, we can empower them to break free from the shadows and create a brighter future for themselves. Breaking the cycle of abuse starts with awareness, empathy, and a commitment to supporting those who have suffered in silence for far too long. The romantic dance with a malignant narcissist often begins in a whirlwind of passion and intensity. They are masters of seduction, experts at mirroring their target's desires and vulnerabilities, creating an illusion of a deep and profound connection. This early love-bombing stage is intoxicating, sweeping their victims off their feet, making them feel seen, understood, and cherished like never before. But this fairy tale romance is merely a facade, a carefully constructed illusion designed to lure their victims into a web of control and manipulation. Behind the mask of charm and adoration lies a calculating mind, carefully observing and exploiting their target's weaknesses, slowly gaining control over their emotions, their resources, and ultimately their sense of self. The narcissist's need for admiration and control knows no bounds. They demand constant attention and validation, their partner's needs and desires relegated to the sidelines. Any deviation from their script, any challenge to their authority is met with swift and brutal punishment, often in the form of rage, manipulation, or emotional withdrawal. As the relationship progresses, the narcissist's true colors begin to surface. The loving facade crumbles, replaced by a pattern of devaluation and emotional abuse. The victim, once idealized and adored, is now subjected to constant criticism, belittling, and gaslighting, their every flaw magnified and exploited. This systematic erosion of their self-esteem leaves the victim feeling insecure, anxious, and questioning their own sanity. The narcissist, threatened by their partner's independence and strength, engages in a campaign of isolation, slowly chipping away at their support system. They may sow seeds of doubt about their partner's friends and family, turning them against their loved ones, leaving them isolated and dependent on the narcissist for their emotional needs. The victim, trapped in a cycle of abuse and manipulation, may start to believe the narcissist's distorted version of reality. They may blame themselves for the narcissist's behavior, rationalizing their actions, making excuses for their cruelty. This self-blame and denial only serve to tighten the narcissist's grip, further eroding the victim's sense of self-worth and agency. Life with a malignant narcissist is a constant state of hypervigilance, of walking on eggshells, never knowing when the next outburst of rage or manipulation will occur. The victim becomes a prisoner in their own home, their every move scrutinized, their every word analyzed for signs of dissent or disrespect. Their once vibrant spirit is slowly crushed under the weight of the narcissist's need for control. The narcissist, a master manipulator, may alternate between periods of intense love bombing and brutal devaluation, keeping their victim emotionally off balance, desperate to regain their fleeting affection. This intermittent reinforcement creates a powerful trauma bond, making it even harder for the victim to break free, even when they recognize the toxicity of the relationship. The impact of this abuse extends far beyond the confines of the relationship. Victims may experience a range of physical and emotional health problems, including anxiety, depression, PTSD, insomnia, and digestive issues. Their careers may suffer, their finances may be controlled, and their relationships with friends and family may be strained or severed. Section 4. Reclaiming your truth. Breaking free from the clutches of a malignant narcissist is a challenging and courageous act. It requires immense strength, self-awareness, and a deep understanding of the dynamics of narcissistic abuse. Victims often need to grieve the loss of the idealized relationship they thought they had, to confront the painful truth of the abuse they've endured. Seeking professional help is crucial in this journey of healing and recovery. A therapist experienced in narcissistic abuse can provide a safe and supportive space for victims to process their trauma, to rebuild their self-esteem, and to develop healthy coping mechanisms. Re-establishing boundaries, rebuilding support networks, and reclaiming their voice are essential steps in the healing process. Remember, you are not alone. There is hope, and healing is possible. By understanding the tactics of a malignant narcissist, by recognizing the signs of abuse, and by seeking support, victims can break free from the cycle of manipulation and reclaim their lives, emerging stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. Section 1. The Ultimate Supply. The relationship between a malignant narcissist and their own mother is often complex and deeply troubled. For a narcissist, the mother represents the first source of narcissistic supply, the initial stage upon which their need for admiration and validation was played out. In many cases, the mother of a narcissist may have unwittingly fostered this narcissistic personality, either through excessive adoration or through neglect and emotional unavailability, creating a void the child desperately attempts to fill with a constant need for external validation. This early dynamic sets the stage for a lifetime of dysfunctional interaction. The narcissistic child, accustomed to using manipulation and emotional leverage to get their needs met, continues these patterns into adulthood, viewing their mother as a continuous source of validation and support, regardless of the emotional cost to her. Imagine a mother perpetually caught in a web of guilt and obligation, her love and loyalty constantly tested by a child who seems incapable of genuine empathy or reciprocity. This is the reality for many mothers of malignant narcissists. They may find themselves constantly making excuses for their child's behavior, minimizing their hurtful actions, and enabling their manipulative tendencies, all in a desperate attempt to maintain a semblance of a loving relationship. Section 2. Bound by guilt and duty. Guilt and duty become powerful weapons in the narcissist's arsenal. They are masters of emotional manipulation, experts at exploiting their mother's vulnerabilities, her sense of maternal responsibility, her deep-seated desire to see the best in her child. They may play the victim, painting themselves as misunderstood or mistreated by the world, triggering their mother's protective instincts, drawing her into their web of deceit and control. Any attempt by the mother to set boundaries, to assert her own needs, or to challenge her narcissistic child's behavior is met with resistance, anger, or guilt trips. The narcissist may accuse their mother of being unloving, unsupportive, or even abusive, turning the tables and portraying themselves as the real victim. This manipulation can be incredibly effective, leaving the mother feeling emotionally drained, confused, and doubting her own perceptions. This dynamic can have a devastating impact on the mother's emotional well-being. She may experience anxiety, depression, a sense of isolation, and a profound feeling of loss as she mourns the loving relationship she yearns for but cannot seem to attain. The constant emotional turmoil can take a toll on her physical health as well, leading to stress-related illnesses and a diminished sense of vitality. Section 3. Living in the shadow of projection. Mothers of narcissists often find themselves on the receiving end of their child's projections. Unable to acknowledge their own flaws and insecurities, the narcissist projects these unwanted traits onto their mother, accusing her of the very behaviors they themselves are guilty of. This can be incredibly disorienting for the mother, who may find herself constantly defending against accusations that feel baseless and unfair. This projection serves a dual purpose for the narcissist. It allows them to maintain their inflated sense of self, their belief in their own righteousness, while simultaneously deflecting any responsibility for their actions. By projecting their own negative qualities onto their mother, they create a convenient scapegoat, someone to blame for their own unhappiness and shortcomings. This can be a lonely and isolating experience for the mother. She may feel like she's going crazy, constantly questioning her own sanity as her child twists reality to fit their own narrative. She may withdraw from other relationships, fearing judgment or disbelief from those who haven't experienced the narcissist's manipulative tactics firsthand. Section 4. Breaking the cycle. Finding freedom. Breaking free from this toxic dynamic can be incredibly challenging, but it is possible. For the mother of a malignant narcissist, the journey begins with understanding the dynamics of narcissistic personality disorder, recognizing that their child's behavior is not a reflection of their parenting or their worth as a person. Seeking therapy, joining support groups, and educating themselves about narcissistic abuse can empower mothers to set healthy boundaries, detach from their child's emotional manipulation, and prioritize their own well-being. It is essential to remember that they cannot change their child, but they can change how they respond to them, how they protect themselves from further emotional harm. Learning to detach with love, to offer compassion from a distance, can be incredibly liberating for the mother of a narcissist. It allows her to reclaim her own life, her own sense of self, and to focus on her own happiness and well-being. While the relationship may never be ideal, she can find peace and freedom by releasing herself from the unrealistic expectations and the emotional burden that comes with loving a narcissist. Section 1. Master Puppeteers of Perception. Malignant narcissists possess an uncanny ability to control narratives and manipulate perceptions, not just within their immediate circle, but on a societal level as well. Their charisma, often intertwined with superficial charm and a knack for storytelling, allows them to weave captivating tales that portray them as victims of circumstance, misunderstood heroes, or even righteous crusaders. This carefully crafted public persona serves as a smokescreen, deflecting attention away from their own toxic behavior and casting doubt on the credibility of their victims. Their manipulative tactics extend beyond mere words. They are experts at reading people, identifying vulnerabilities, and exploiting them to their advantage. They may strategically align themselves with influential individuals or groups, leveraging these connections to bolster their image and silence dissent. This calculated maneuvering allows them to build a network of enablers, individuals who, either consciously or unconsciously, support their narrative and become complicit in their abuse. Imagine a courtroom where the accused, a skilled manipulator, effortlessly sways the jury with their charm and carefully constructed narrative, painting their victim as the aggressor, the unstable one, the one who drove them to their actions. This is the power of a malignant narcissist in a societal context, their ability to distort perceptions, to manipulate the court of public opinion, and to emerge seemingly unscathed, even celebrated, while their victims bear the brunt of the blame and the consequences. Section 2. Swaying public opinion. Social settings become stages for the malignant narcissist's performance. They are often drawn to positions of power and influence, where they can command attention, garner admiration, and exert control over others. Whether it's in the workplace, in social circles, or even in religious institutions, they possess an innate ability to charm their way to the top, leaving a trail of disillusioned and manipulated individuals in their wake. Their need for control extends beyond individual relationships, permeating into their interactions with institutions and society as a whole. They may use their positions of power to manipulate systems, bend rules, or exploit others, all while maintaining an outward facade of respectability and righteousness. This dissonance between their public persona and their private actions can be incredibly confusing for those who have not witnessed their true nature, making it difficult to reconcile the charming individual they see in public with the abuser described by their victims. The malignant narcissist thrives on chaos and drama, often creating conflict and division within groups to solidify their position of power. They are masters of triangulation, pitting people against each other, playing the victim, and fueling discord to ensure that all attention remains centered on them. This strategic manipulation allows them to maintain control over the narrative, deflecting blame and perpetuating their image as the injured party, the one deserving of sympathy and support. Section 3. Maintaining the facade, blaming the victim. One of the most insidious aspects of malignant narcissism is the narcissist's ability to deflect blame and maintain their facade of innocence, even when confronted with irrefutable evidence of their wrongdoing. They possess an arsenal of tactics designed to discredit their victims, minimize their actions, and shift the focus away from their own accountability. Gaslighting, a hallmark of narcissistic abuse, extends beyond individual relationships and can manifest on a societal level. The narcissist may deny events, twist facts, or outright lie to create an alternate reality where they are the victims of persecution, misunderstanding, or even conspiracies. This manipulation can be so convincing that even those who once doubted them may begin to question their own perceptions, doubting the accounts of the victims and accepting the narcissist's distorted version of events. The malignant narcissist may also resort to smear campaigns, strategically spreading rumors and misinformation to damage the reputation of their victims and discredit their accounts. They may portray their victims as unstable, unreliable, or even dangerous, effectively silencing them and deterring others from coming forward with their own experiences of abuse. This isolation tactic is particularly effective in maintaining the narcissist's facade and perpetuating their cycle of abuse. Combating the societal impact of malignant narcissism requires a multi-pronged approach. Education and awareness are paramount. By understanding the tactics employed by these individuals, by recognizing the red flags of manipulation and abuse, we can begin to dismantle the systems that allow them to thrive. This includes challenging the narratives they create, questioning their motives, and refusing to be complicit in their games of deception. Supporting the victims of narcissistic abuse is crucial. It is imperative that we create safe spaces for them to share their stories, to validate their experiences, and to begin the process of healing. This involves listening with empathy, believing their accounts, and offering unwavering support as they navigate the complexities of recovering from abuse. Breaking the cycle of narcissistic abuse on a societal level requires a collective effort. It demands that we hold abusers accountable for their actions, that we challenge systems that protect them, and that we prioritize empathy, compassion, and integrity in our interactions with others. By promoting a culture of accountability, respect, and healthy boundaries, we can create a world where malignant narcissists are no longer able to operate with impunity, a world where their victims are believed, supported, and empowered to reclaim their voices and their lives. We've journeyed deep into the unsettling realm of malignant narcissism, peeling back the layers of charm and manipulation to expose the darkness that lies beneath. From the shattered lives of their children and spouses to the societal structures they infiltrate, their impact is pervasive, leaving scars that can last a lifetime. Remember, the malignant narcissist is not a caricature, a villain in a movie, but a very real presence in our world, often hiding in plain sight, their toxicity masked by carefully constructed facades. Throughout this exploration, we've witnessed the devastating effects of their insatiable need for control, their manipulative tactics designed to exploit and dominate those around them. We've seen how their children become pawns in their twisted games, their spouses subjected to emotional torture, and their own mothers trapped in cycles of guilt and manipulation. The world of a malignant narcissist is built on a foundation of deceit, a house of cards carefully constructed to maintain their illusion of power and superiority. But knowledge is power, and by understanding the dynamics of this disorder, we arm ourselves with the tools to recognize and resist their manipulations, recognizing the signs. The love bombing, the gaslighting, the projection, the smear campaigns is the crucial first step in breaking free from their web of control. Remember, their tactics are often subtle, insidious, eroding your sense of self-worth slowly over time. Don't ignore the red flags. Trust your gut and seek support if you find yourself questioning your own reality. The damage inflicted by a malignant narcissist extends far beyond the immediate victims, creating ripples that spread throughout families, communities, and even society as a whole. Their children, scarred by emotional neglect and manipulation, may struggle to form healthy relationships, their ability to trust and love forever altered. Spouses, their self-esteem shattered, may carry the weight of their abuse for years, struggling to rebuild their lives and reclaim their sense of self. Their impact on society can be equally insidious. Their ability to charm and manipulate can lead them to positions of power where they can exploit systems, abuse their authority, and inflict their toxicity on a larger scale. Their disregard for rules and boundaries, coupled with their talent for deception, can undermine trust in institutions and create a climate of fear and uncertainty. But the ripple effect of malignant narcissism doesn't have to be solely destructive. By raising awareness, by sharing our stories, by supporting victims and holding abusers accountable, we can transform this pain into a force for positive change. We can create a world where manipulation and exploitation are met with resistance, where empathy and compassion serve as shields against their toxicity. While the journey of healing from narcissistic abuse can be long and challenging, it is a journey worth taking. Remember, you are not alone. There are resources available, support systems ready to embrace you, and professionals trained to guide you on the path to recovery. Seeking therapy, joining support groups, and educating yourself about narcissistic abuse are all crucial steps in reclaiming your life and rediscovering your strength. The process of healing is about more than just escaping the clutches of the abuser. It's about rediscovering your own worth, reclaiming your voice, and learning to trust your own perceptions again. It's about breaking free from the cycle of self-blame and recognizing that you are not defined by the abuse you've endured. As we conclude this exploration of malignant narcissism, let us remember that darkness cannot exist without light, that even in the face of such profound toxicity, hope remains. By shining a light on these destructive patterns, by empowering victims and holding abusers accountable, we contribute to a brighter future, one where empathy, compassion, and authenticity prevail.